Hi there. Thank you so much for watching this week's video message. Let's talk a little bit about decoding practice with building fluency and a few other areas. So you may find that you have students, and we're talking at the intervention level. So in your intervention groups, you may have children who may not be ready for a full page of text like this decodable passage here that I had written, and they may not be ready for a full decodable book like this one. You may find that some children prefer the decodable reader over the one page of text because the pages may not have a lot of text on them and there are illustrations. So it really, really will depend. However, when we are getting children ready to read decodable text, there are some steps that we can build in there. And for our intervention children, we want to keep in mind that we are talking about kids who may have some working memory issues, who may have some problems with building automaticity because of their maybe issues with rapid automatized naming. So a name speed issue you might notice. So these are children who need a lot more exposures, a lot more varied practice, more repetitions, more time overall, just more time, the gift of time, right? So before I give a passage like Pete and Kate, there are some things that I have built in as an update to this resource that I have found to be useful. This is a passage from the Syllable Stories resource in my store. I will link that. Two things. You'll want to look at the updated version because I have added in these pages here for rehearsal. And one of them is a RAN chart. So we have a decodable RAN chart for Pete and Kate. So the way the RAN chart works is that I have selected perhaps 3 to 5 words that match the particular skill of the decodable text and place them into these cells. And they are repeated. And so we're giving children more rehearsal and more exposures to practice their decoding skills and work on building some more automaticity. So if you notice in the first row, we've got bike, cube, game, same. Cube, duck, get to that in a minute, bike, game. Same, game, same, frog. Okay, so you might be thinking, why are there animals in some of the spaces? So that's a great tip that I had learned from one of the presenters from Building Readers for Life by breaking up the RAN chart with some emojis or some clip art in there. We actually are just kind of reinforcing the fact that we want them to keep going. So the students want to keep getting to that next emoji or clip art or whatever animal you have there. So it's just sort of motivating to keep them in there. It gives them a tiny bit of a break, and you can build in a little bit of fun interaction when they do land on a space with an animal. Like, for instance, you could have them do a quick hand motion. You could have them do a quick sound effect when they get to that. Whatever you want, you can build in a like, if you land on this or when you land on this, then do this. So create sort of a scenario for that space. So this is the decodable RAN chart. The words that are repeated in this text are found in Pete and Kate. After you do a decodable RAN chart, then the next step would be to go on to the phrasing chart. So what I have done here is pull specific phrases from Pete and Kate and put them in there. And what you can do is practice having students read them. And we can work on a little bit of expression if you want. You can practice scooping underneath there and having students highlight however they want. And those, once again, are going to help them build up their exposure to the text, prepare them, give them more rehearsal time, so that by the time they get to the actual passage of Pete and Kate, they are really, really warmed up. For some of your children, you are going to find this is going to be really necessary just to help them build up even a bit more confidence too. So by the time they get to that passage, they're ready. Another step that I have found that some of my kids need is to maybe pull one or two sentences from the passage prior or after, it doesn't really matter, and cut and put them on little cards. These are just little dry erase index cards, and pull a sentence from there and practice reading it as a whole sentence. We're talking about kids that at the sentence level still need a lot of rehearsal and practice. Right now, it looks like the sentence is all spaced out. Pete and Kate were 9. Okay? And what I'm going to do is group it together by phrases. I'm going to do Pete and Kate were 9. Pete and Kate were 9. This pocket chart is not really ideal, but just for demonstration purposes, I would tend to put them in a straight line across on my table. But just for demonstration purposes, you see what I mean. The next step is I would take some pipe cleaners, or you could use wiki sticks and create little scoop marks and put them underneath the phrases and have them touch or trace with their finger over those scoop marks. Pete and Kate were 9. Okay? And we're just really, really reinforcing reading with expression, reading with accuracy, and just once again, one more chance to build up some confidence when they're ready to read the passage. So how long does all of that take if you're feeling like, oh my goodness, I've introduced the words, I've introduced the concept, we're ready for decodable text, and now there's these RAND charts and phrasing charts. These little extra pages that I've added into the resource honestly will not take a lot of extra time or take away from the time that you had reading the actual passage. But try to think that the time you are devoting to using the RAND chart, the phrasing chart, or what I just showed with the pocket chart cards, really is going to pay off. Your students are going to feel much more warmed up. So by the time they get to that passage or to that decodable reader, they are off to the races. Not that this is really a race, right? But we just want them to experience as much success in their reading as possible, but also reinforcing the phonics or spelling skills that you have been teaching to help them work towards mastery. So where can you find these? Once again, so they're in the Syllable Stories resource, and they're in the Spelling Generalization Stories as well. I am going to be adding them all to the Let's Read Decodable Passages bundle, and that will be in winter 2023. So you can look for that update as well. So if you own any of those resources, all you have to do is log in to Teachers Pay Teachers and re-download them. or you can get them off of my website store if you choose to go to theliteracynest.com. They're there as well. So I hope that these tips that I've provided will help your students become more successful decoders and readers, and of course, become more confident in their reading. Have a great day, and I will see you soon. Thanks so much for following me